Well, good morning. Here we are on August the 6th. It is a little bit past 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and this is video number 2. So good morning to you. Today we're going to cover in a uh, broad spectrum cover some world news events that sort of came off the first video that we put out back in early July. And we're also going to talk about gold and silver, not so much silver, more so gold, its relevancy and its importance, especially in small increments. So we'll talk about BRIC, which is a new development bank formed by 5 different countries. We'll talk about how that affects the Federal Reserve. We're going to discuss China and some things that they're doing, as well as the current status with Greece, U.S. debt, and how all these things are converging into a headwaters somewhere. I don't know if converging in the headwaters is such a good thing. Also, there's a couple other articles that we'll briefly discuss. So on the BRIC, the BRIC is a development bank. It commenced in 2012. It's formed by Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa. The main pushing point, the main philosophy, the main concern of these countries, and it's clearly understandable, is they wanted to get away from the reserve currency of the US dollar, because these countries are fully aware, as is probably all countries on the globe, that the US dollar is faltering. It is a fiat currency that is shaky. These countries know the amount of debt that the US is facing, and they know that that picture does not look good. So to protect themselves, they have put together a bank called the New Development Bank. NDB would be its initials. They look to commence business in 2016. It looks like, from everything that I've read online and various research articles, that when that launches, that will have a dramatic effect, at least potentially so, on the US dollar. It certainly will challenge the reserve currency status of the US dollar. If that is challenged and this new bank or some format of that does take place, it will have earthquake potential repercussions on the value of the US dollar. One of the other reasons that the BRIC is forming, this new development bank, is to challenge the IMF, because again, the IMF has its own set of challenges and biases that they want to get away from. So actually, this new development bank could be a good thing, but maybe not so much so if you're sitting in US dollars. So if that were to occur, if this new development bank occurs and does shake out the US dollar from the reserve currency, what are you prepared for? Are you aware of this? Are you making preparations, or do you just want to be an ostrich? I just put that out to you. The next point here is China. Put my gluzzies on. China has recently made a treaty with Russia to buy Russian oil in its own currency, and is already dumping billions of dollars, US dollars, and acquiring gold by the ton. As other countries follow suit, the value of the dollar potentially is going to continue to plummet. The 3 largest buyers of gold. Now, think about this. They're buying gold. Now, they are buying it in, of course, heavy increments, gold bullion bars. They buy it by the ounce, but they're buying it in heavy grade, heavy increment, large increments gold. The 3 largest buyers of gold: China, Russia, and India. Although Indians, when I say India, I'm talking more of the Indian citizenry buys it in various smaller means. And certainly that is happening in Europe, which I'll talk more about that. So these are world events that continue to unfold. Another news item: Greece. Greece continues to be an ultra mess. Because of that, it has driven individual citizen purchases of gold and silver and platinum to all-time highs, because the Europeans, Greece is part of the EU right now. Whether they'll stay or not is another issue, but it's definitely being challenged. So The average European EU citizen, be it France, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, whatever, are purchasing gold and silver at unprecedented levels. I ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing about it? You don't think that can come home to us? The potential's there. Suppose it never happens. You're still sitting in good precious metals. If it does happen, well, you'll be glad that you made the diversification that needs to be done. So, even though the mainstream media continues to harp on the Greek debt crisis, they ignore the debt crisis in the United States. 2015 would be the fourth straight year of the government borrowing more as a percentage of GDP than Greece. Did you hear that? Our debt ratio is greater than Greece. What are you going to do? Are you going to prepare? I ask you, I plead with you, make preparations. So these are things, this continues to unfold. Another point with COMEX paper gold. Gold, the demand for gold is at unprecedented. This is for gold, silver, and other precious metals. It's so vast, and I'm just talking domestically in the United States, although it's true globally, that the mints can't keep up. Research it. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, research it. Go on Google, go on your search engines, check it out. Right now, there's 1 ounce of physical gold for every ounce for every paper trade. It's 19 to 1. 19 to 1. They can't fill those orders. There's a major shortage of physical gold. Physical gold's developing. There could be an incredible short squeeze. What do you think that would do to the price of gold? It's the potential. Is it guaranteed? Can I sit here and tell you, thus saith? No. But you can certainly take a look at the trends and see what's happening. If gold were to, and I'm going to point to China, back to China again, which is the largest acquirer of gold in the world. They have made moves to challenge the international markets. Gold right now is traded either in New York or in London. But the Chinese and most people in the know that gold, silver is majorly suppressed, manipulated. China is endeavoring to challenge that to become a trading center for gold. If that was repriced, we believe that it's tremendously undervalued. I'm getting this from an NIA, a National Inflation Association news source that I source. I'll read. Gold is currently very undervalued and deserves to be traded for $2,211 and change per ounce. It's right now, the spot price is a little over $1,000, just under $1,100. That would almost double it. Now, whether China will be successful in doing it, becoming an alternative trading center, we'll see. We'll find out. If it does, where does that leave you? Where are you positioned? So I'll leave it at that. With that, let's go back to the gold relevancy. The idea is to get into gold in small increments and silver in small increments that you can go to the store. You can buy gas. You can buy clothing. You can buy food. I have displayed the gold grams the last time. It's to find gold in tradable small increments. If you were to go to Europe today, let me get my gram. Hang on 1 second here. If you were to go to Europe and stop average everyday shoppers in Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Great Britain, and so on, you will find they carry grams of gold, just like this. Maybe not by this company, but they do carry grams of gold. And they can go into vendors, merchants, and trade it, spend it, because it's currency in Europe. This is common everyday hat. It's becoming more so in this country, where you can walk into any brick and mortar store and spend this. People ask me, when I show these cards, what can I do with it? Let's handle that question briefly, then we'll wrap it up. If you were to acquire an ounce of gold, what would you do with it? If you were to acquire gold bullion in the bars, what would you do with it? If you were to acquire numismatic gold or collectible gold coins, silver coins, what would you do with it? I would respond as one, you'd store it and keep it as a hedge against inflation, as well as a hedge against the faltering paper fiat money, which, by the way, no fiat money has ever lasted more than 100 years. Never, not in any history. So the question is, how many years, how many decades are we into the current fiat money, meaning there's no gold or silver backing our paper money? There is no gold or silver. It is worthless money. What are you doing about it? Another thing people asked about, what do I do with these or small increment gold and silver, is you can spend it in the open market. Merchants will accept it, increasingly more so. You also could put it up for auction on eBay. I see them all the time, and they're getting good spot prices for these. So they're easily tradable. They're easily to turn back into paper money or into smaller other increments of coinage if you so desire. Good day to you. Thank you for listening. I pray that this was educational, keep you informed, and it consolidated all the highlights that are out there with gold today and current news events. Look for another video in about 2 weeks.